Saturday, November 20th. I am, oh, well, I guess my dreams, because that's what I'm tracking right now. It was one, I can only remember 2 scenes. I know there was more, but I only remember 2 scenes. And the scenes, I'm taking off shoes. I'm taking off some new shoes that I purchased through Groupon, with Groupon bucks that I have. And I'm not liking these shoes. So I'm taking them off. But anyways, my dreams. I only remember 2 scenes. One scene, I'm helping someone clean the inside of their home. And I have a vacuum. And I'm literally like helping them dust and clean. But what stood out was that I was cleaning out the spiders. I was cleaning out the spiders in their home. I was cleaning out the spiders in their home. And if you remember, right, spiders are shadow work stuff. They're symbolic for shadow work, and the inside of your home tends to be like the inside of you, right? I mean, that's what I'm trying to like kind of piece together. Because clearly at this point in time, right? I mean, is it really symbolic of me? I feel like I've cleaned out all of the spiders in my closet. All of the spiders in my home, right? Like, if you've gotten to this point, if you've watched from the beginning, it's clear that it's not about me. That it's not about me. And I didn't feel like it was. It was this element of help. This continued theme of helping other people do that for themselves. And I didn't know who this person was. I don't think. But I was helping them clear out the spiders and the dust from inside their home. So that was one. The second one is very similar, just a different take. Not similar, but it was with children. And I was in this car. We were going to the store. But I'm in this car with this woman and her child. I don't know who they are. I don't know who they are. I mean, they seem familiar, but I really don't know who they are. And there's this element of me coming along with them in this car to do their shopping. But there's this element of me assessing, like I'm assessing and I'm watching. And I'm watching the little boy and his behaviors and his comments. And this is like a 5-year-old maybe. 5-year-old, 4 or 5-year-old. A little boy. Curly hair. Or wavy, like, not curly, like tight curls, but like wavy curly, but he has his little poof. But he's talkative but there's something about his remarks, and mom, I can feel mom's worry. I can feel her worry and almost insecurity with this little child in terms of his behavior. and his mannerisms. And it's like, I'm there to help them, but I'm assessing to see if it's organic, if it's something that's just part of his personality, or if it's environmental, where a lot of his remarks he might have picked up from somewhere else. And so there's this confusion of like, I'm trying to assess, and I'm watching and I'm listening, and I'm there with them, trying not to completely interact, but just watch and listen and feel. And then the little boy kind of interacts with me a little bit in a very I mean, I've worked with kids like this before, so it's familiar for me. And there's this element where he's making his remarks towards me, but I find a way to go along, and then he like, I could feel his aggressiveness, if you will, come down. And mom's a little like, I could sense her like embarrassment almost at the same time, but at the same time, like, for me, I'm just assessing to see, does she act that way also, or if that's just him. It's really interesting. Like, I hadn't I mean, I don't work with kids right now, so will I be working with kids? I don't know. But those were the two scenes that stood out in today's stream, or last night's streams. So it's a long work day today, actually. I think this is gonna be the first day that I actually work 8 hours. Because usually and pretty straight, like, I have 2 breaks in between, 30-minute breaks in between the groups. So this is really going to be like an example of a long day for me, and I haven't had that in a while, because usually I'll have like 2 or 3 clients in the morning, and then 4 or 5 clients in the evening. So and I have like a good 2-hour gap, so it's a nice breakup, or I can take a walk in the middle of the day before I sit back down. But now I'm wondering if I should move this up, change my time frames. I don't know. So we'll see how today goes, in terms of just the flow of the day. And then I have dinner with my cousin, which I'm excited about afterwards. So that is the plan for today. And yeah, okay, just wanted to record that. Right. So it's still Saturday, November 20th. I may include this one with the previous one, I don't know, just because I think the first one was like 6 minutes long. First client canceled, so clearly I'm not supposed to have an 8-hour day. Which is fine, because as I was waiting for my client to log on, I was sitting with last night, like, just reflecting on how I was connecting with the words. And then there was this realization of, oh my gosh, was I really connecting? Or so I might have mentioned it yesterday after I was debriefing, or maybe not. That first time that I was exposed to, not the first time, but when I was actually physically in Oakland, right, with in that poetry reading where my cousin read, I went in already knowing that I was different, that I struggled connecting because of the previous Galeria de la Raza. It was the Lunala Pride, and I remember I was so emotional about that experience, and I was crying, and I recorded on it, and I'll include that link of that video of when I'm in San Francisco and I'm reflecting on what I'm experiencing, and then this realization of like, who am I really? I never really, excuse me, made the time to kind of sit with that, because it was just like, go, 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 just survive, right? Get ahead. Not really giving myself the opportunity to explore and tap into that creative side of myself. So that first Galeria de la Raza performance that I witnessed, that I saw, I was triggered in that, wow, there's this whole other life, this whole other world that I don't feel a connection to, even though my family is from Mexico, right? And I'm from here, and even then it's a little sketchy, because it's like, I have my mom that was born and raised and moved here at 21, but my dad was born in Mexico but came at 7 and was raised here, and so so there's that element, right, of the two different sides of that, where there's this, am I really first generation or am I not? Right? I remember taking a Chicano studies class, the only Chicano studies class in college, and being taught about the different generations, and even then I remember like not feeling connected to the culture, really, and so anyways, like be feeling connected but also not. And so so that first poetry reading in Oakland that I physically attended, because that one, it was outdoors, when I first moved here in August, I was able to sit with the word, like I was able to, a lot of what stood out were messages of like, wow, you know, the campesinos, wow, about, you know, just this world that I didn't feel connected to. So I already went in with that mindset of like, I don't connect. I went in with that mindset. And so then what did I see? I saw the words that made me feel like I didn't connect. Even though I could feel their emotion and I can feel how they saw the world and themselves in it, there was still this disconnection. Because that's what I was focusing on. I was focusing on, I already know I'm not going to connect, because that's what's been happening. That's why I'm here, right? There was this pull to want to try to connect and not knowing how. So I was sitting with it some more. And even though I was blown away by the whole experience last night of being in the presence of these individuals in these communities, young individuals in these communities who've had such an influence, whether it's through their visual art and now through their poetry and the things they've created. I was looking at their Instagram accounts and I'm just like blown away by the work that they're doing, and wow, like real wow. And I'll include their links below. I mean, I totally encourage you guys to follow them, but wow, I was just blown away by what they're doing in the community, right? With their talent, with their skill, with yeah. So there's that element, right? And then then I was sitting with it and I was just like, was I really filtering? There was an element of me filtering through the words to pick out what I connected with. But at the same time, I realized I don't remember everything that they said. There's this element of like, and it just out of nowhere, like right now, it just hit me. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I was there, I was listening, but there was also this element of me of like, wait, what did they say? Wait, what? Not in the shocking what, in more of this slow down, please type of feeling of like not catching up, Like I felt like they were going so fast that I was struggling to catch up, but I didn't feel the struggle because I was so caught up with, like, you know, me with my tuturu mind, right? Like, I'm just like, I get caught up in the whole experience of it, and then it takes me a while to process what that experience really was. And so that's what happened right now. That I realized, I'm just like, wait, what did they say? And I mentioned that those of us that were performing, we were in a separate chat, and so we were able to, like, provide words of encouragement to each other, and so but I noticed that some people would say certain comments, and then part of me was just like, what did that mean? Like, one, because I don't know the lingo, right? I can speak Spanish, but I remember, like, I told my mom once, I'm just like, you know, I was never taught the slang. I was never taught, like, and then because I'm not around it a lot, you know, because I have friends, but I don't at the same time, because they're friends from my past life, and so it's, you know, for me to try to find people who get it, I guess, who kind of get it, is hard, you know, in terms of how I'm viewing life now. I think that's a little challenging. I think if anything, I mean, Mr. Bumble has been the one constant in that respect, where we're able to have conversations of this spiritual awakening, that we're able to have conversations of what we're learning, and how he's learning and doing different things and kind of experiencing it. So we're kind of doing it together almost. So that's nice. Without it getting to our heads, you know, like I really want to avoid that. I mean, because, you know, sometimes I admit I have a chip on my shoulder sometimes, but I'm trying to, like, avoid that at the same time, like trying to just kind of take things in. Anyways, so all of this triggered a poem. And now I was waiting for my client to log on, and I was just typing away, and then realizing, I was just like, oh snap. As much as there was an element of me connecting, it was really also the opposite of, like, I couldn't process. They were going too fast. And then, you know, I thought about it somewhere. I was just like, well, duh, you be like, even as I read a book, right? When I read a book, I highlight, I make notes. Like, I mean, you know, like, you know, I make notes, and I write in the margin, and I'm underlying words that I don't know, and like so there was an element of feeling like I didn't understand, like I couldn't take it all in. So I'd like to go back and hopefully find copies of what they're sharing, so I can really break it down a little bit more for my own understanding. You know, and this is where I can relate. That's why when I work with my clients, I'm always asking them, I'm like, how do you learn? Because that's going to influence how I provide the service. If your learning style is a certain way, I want to make sure I meet that need so that you get it, right? And a lot of it too is just growing up and being around other people who had learning disabilities, right? And just kind of, and I worked with that. Like, I worked with kids in special education, and young adults or teenagers in special education who had learning disabilities. And so I read that form, you know, their IEP forms. I mean, because there's so much knowledge in there in terms of how they take in information. But anyways, so here's what came out of that realization. This poem is called Visual Poetry, dated November 20th, 2021, dedicated to those who need visual poetry. Random words and phrases, but are they really? They speak quickly and I try to catch up, but they don't know I am more visual. Words seem familiar, I try to connect, but now they're on to the next description. Wait! They speak too quickly and I try to catch up, but they don't know I am more visual. I connect with every other word, I connect. Or am I really, and instead just trying to latch on to what makes sense? They speak demasiado quickly and I try to catch up, but they don't know I am more visual. I try to paint a picture in my mind, but what did they say? They finished speaking and I'm trying to catch up, but they don't know. I am more visual. I too thrive on words, but please not too quickly. I'm trying to paint a picture of what you say because you don't know I am more visual. So that's what came out. Isn't that funny? I mean, funny for me in that realization of like this continued theme of like how long it takes me to process stuff, right? And then these realizations that I'm having from these experiences. And still this theme of being somewhere in the middle where I'm like, I know I'm smart. I know I get it, right? I wasn't ever diagnosed with a learning disability, but for whatever reason, like, it could be, you know, like my mom said, te pierdes en tus pensamientos, like I would get lost in my thoughts. And for a while I thought maybe I had ADD because I would, like, I get caught up in other stuff and then I'm there and I'm like, oh snap, gotta do this. Or is that rooted in trauma, right? Is it also rooted in trauma? Because symptoms of ADHD can mimic or mask the effects of trauma. Lingering effects of trauma. I don't know. All I know is that I'm still somewhere in the middle and I'm trying to take it all in and trying to move forward at the same time. And yeah, that's all. Hi, my name is Yubi, and in case you haven't figured it out, this footage is capturing my experience as I learn to navigate my personal spiritual awakening. I am learning that this experience is unique to each one of us. In whatever way we believe we are embracing living our truth, this just happens to be my journey. And despite me having a graduate degree and a license in clinical social work, this by no means is intended to replace any type of mental health advice. This is just me on a personal level, documenting my experience, shedding light on the truth that I am learning and discovering for myself, and really inviting you along for the ride. If by some magical chance you find this content to be helpful in any way, shape, or form, please click the like button, share the message, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have an Instagram account, a personal one, and one specifically for this channel that you're more than welcome to check out. I'm an open book. I have also created t-shirt designs. I'm wearing my favorite one right now, which is the North Node design, but I have that and other things that you can look at inspired by this process and journey, and I have the link in the description box as well as in the about section of my YouTube channel. So you're more than welcome to check those items out. Any type of support is great. Again, if you find this content really helpful or meaningful, sometimes when we take that step and be vulnerable, with showing what's inside our hearts and what's really our truth, we realize that we're much more connected than what we thought we were. And so I hope that as I'm living this experience and that you find some type of truth for yourself or find some type of ability to heal in some way just by relating, just by knowing that you're not alone. That really has been my goal with this process, not just being able to connect with others, but really for my own healing. It's definitely been a therapeutic experience and a very creative one for myself. So I thank you, and I wish you all the best, and we'll see what else comes next for me.